Hi there. So in this video I'm going to show you how to add transparency to div block in HTML5. So for this tutorial we are going to use Foundation HTML5 framework, and I have downloaded Foundation 6 and extracted into directory. So I have my CSS.js folder and sample HTML5 open in text editor. So this is just a boilerplate, it shows nothing on our browser. So what we're going to do is we are going to first create some content on this page and then add transparency to it. Okay, so first thing, let me just add some background color. Let's just use some bright color so that you can actually see the transparency. Okay, so let me refresh this, and as you can see now we have bright background. Now the next thing that we have to do is add some content inside our body tag. So we add div class row and /div. So as you can guess, I'm using Foundation framework, so this row class and a few other classes are already defined in Foundation main CSS. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one div block here. For that I'm going to declare it here. So let's add hash demo. So this will be our ID, and here I'm going to simply add one color. Let's make it white. Okay, now we can add some padding to it of 10 pixel, then top 50%, left 50%. Okay, and then we have our transform, translate, -50%, -50%. I'm setting these options so as to make this div block at the center of screen, and we can then view it much easily. Okay, and we can also set its position to fixed. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to add that in our div class. So div ID here would be demo. Okay, now let me just add some content, h2, say something like foundation transparency. Then let's add a button class with value button large expanded, and just name it as subscribe, and that's the end of our button. Okay, so we have our h2 tag, then button. Okay, so these two things are more than enough for our example. So we have added that. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so this looks at the center of screen. As you can see, we have added this white background and this button at the center. Now I want to add the transparency to this block. Now for that we have to go to our div block, and here let me add this at the top. We have to add opacity for this element, and let's experiment with numbers such as 60. So 0.60, and let's refresh this. As you can see, it won't be showing much content, so let's make it a bit visible. So use something around 0.85 and it will show you partial transparency. Okay, you can just reduce that 2.80 if you want, and you get your transparency. Okay, you can also change the color so as to see how effectively that transparency is visible for you. Okay, I found that sometimes between 0.65 to 0.80 you will find this block look much transparent. Okay, you can go below that with 0.40 and it will look just a bit too much transparent. Okay, you can also add the hover class and all that for the elements inside your div block, and so as to make them look less transparent. Okay, so you get the idea of how to make a particular div block in your HTML page to look transparent using opacity CSS property.